Hello, my name is Jonathan Fan. I'm going to be running Assignment 3 TCP and UDP. So here is my file structure. I have a terminal open from that file structure. We're going to be running Gradle run server. And this is also listed in the README here. Terminal commands: Gradle run server, Gradle run client. Client terminal will display such as this. Some listed constraints, TCP versus UDP, and lastly the files. Okay, server is now ready for a connection. Server waiting for a connection. On our other command line, we're going to be running Gradle run client. Once it is connected to the server on local host, it should display on, and we should be greeted with a greeting on the client side. Okay, here we are. Connection established on the left. We're greeted with what is the name of the player. So we are following along with the procedure here on the README. So what is the name of the player? Jonathan. I'm going to go ahead and type that in. Hit enter. You can see here the server says server got a type, which was a message. Message was Jonathan. Back to connection established. Hello, Jonathan, on the client side. How many questions would you like to answer in time? 4. Enter start to begin. Questions should now be displayed, and everything is also displayed on the server side here as well. So questions: what is 2 plus 2? 4. 4 plus 2, 6. 0 plus 2 is 2. And it is also giving me a true or a false, whether the questions are right or wrong. What is 10 plus 2? 12. And that was the final question. We have a you win display here on the client side, and a window pops up saying you win. Now if any of these questions were incorrect and said false, at the very end a you lose will pop up. So that is going to be the TCP server and client program. Some code review for the TCP program. I have Eclipse opened up here. Pardon the loading time. There we go. So here we are. We have the server, which starts with trying for an open socket, and then while true, we have some code that's going to be displayed as soon as I can scroll down here. Okay, there it is, ready for a connection. Connection established. Once there's input from the client, which is if in is not equal to null, then we're going to read in the string request. The server will display on its side, server got a type. We have a JSON object, which we have the greeting of the questions on the server side, and we are writing that response. This continues with some of these questions here, such as question 1. If the type equals question 1, which is sent over from the client, then the question will display. Here is what is 2 plus 2? end of question 1. Moving on to question 2, same thing. We are using JSON objects. And this continues on. Here's the end of question 4 there. And that's going to be it for the server side. Client code, we have this constructor. This is the frame that uses the client GUI starter code. That's going to be mainly just used for displaying the you win and you lose. We got the insert image method, main method here. This is the greeting once the connection is established, and then everything else thus far is going to be read in from the server, receive the response from the server. We are reading in objects. See right here, question 1, we are going to request client send to the server, and this type here is question 1, which is sent over to the server. That's going to be handled with if statements such as, if the type equals question 1, then we are creating these JSON objects here. Picture panel, output panel, that's from the starter code. Network utils and JSON utils, these are going to be sending bytes, and that'll be handled on the stream. That way it can receive the message size. JSON utils helps to convert the byte over to strings. And that's going to be our TCP. And now I'm going to go ahead and run the UDP. Same thing, I'm going to be opening up 2 terminals. Similar commands such as TCP here, we got run server first. Sorry, Gradle run server. Alright, that's running. Now we're also going to do Gradle run client. Alright, so on the client side, we are greeted with a hello, what is the player's name? This command is also going to be in the README here of what the program should run as. So here, what is the player's name? We're going to go ahead and put in Jonathan. And we can see on the server side it says received Jonathan. Now the server sends back the data, but it is received at a weird time, so sometimes in the response here it's kind of thrown in halfway. So from server, hello, it capitalizes our input, Jonathan, so now it says uppercase Jonathan. How many questions would you like to answer in time? We're going to go ahead and go with the same 4. Receives that input 4 and also some other random, I believe this is because of how UDP broadcasts. The receiver will respond with, you have chosen 4, and then some unnecessary data, questions. Jonathan, you are ready to begin the game. And build successful, and this is the same as with TCP. Both are build successful. The only thing is, once the client is done, the server is still running, so we will have to manually close the window. And now moving on to the code for the UDP server and client. This only uses 2 files here, udpserver.java and udpclient.java. On the server side, we are creating a server socket byte array to receive and send data, and we have a request here, and that's going to be packaged up in a datagram packet. So we are receiving said data, displaying received, and then sending the response back to the client. Now looking at the client side, here's our greeting. What is the player's name? We are setting up packets and receiving the input from the command line. So whatever the player inputs for player name, it will get packaged up into the send data, and we're going to be sending that packet using the client socket.send send packet command. The output will be whatever is received from the server. We can see here from the server hello, and then modified sentence would be the received packet data. How many questions would you like to answer in time? We're closing that first socket, and then we are doing the same thing for the second packet. Client socket number 2. Same thing, client socket 2 send, receiving data, receiving the packets, and then we also have a modified output with you have chosen, there's that modified sentence, and then here's modified sentence from the first part, which is 4 for modified sentence 2, and then this is supposed to say Jonathan. And lastly, we are closing that socket. So that is going to be it for my TCP and UDP program. Thank you.